Hi friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a Shadowdark RPG campaign known as the Gloaming. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of cool, exclusive stuff like a preview of the City of Arches source book, Uncovered Secrets Volume 1 and 2, a dedicated Discord server, a monthly Q&A, a whole bunch of exclusive adventures, a bunch of different tools to help you run your game, just piles and piles of stuff you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. But most of all, patrons help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. So last week was a big one. The characters were crawling through a dungeon underneath the town of Wardenwood. They found out that an evil hag was poisoning the people of the town and making their skin all sallow, and you could like see through their skin and see their veins, and they secreted like a weird oily sweat, and it was really nasty. And so the characters went down in the well down here, and they explored the well. They saw that there's some old tombs to the god of time that's down here, picked up some of that stuff, but they said, no, let's stay on target. And they followed the well all the way up to the north, where they met and fought the hag, whose name is Drusilla, the Witch of the Gloaming. So Drusilla had been pretending to help the people of Wardenwood, but actually she's turning them all into slime people. And I wanted to tie Drusilla over to Mugdalblub, the Elder Ooze, who is kind of the main villain that exists in the nearby dungeon of Bittermold Keep. I kind of want the characters to go to Bittermold Keep. I know that's sort of, railroady. Hey, you should go to Bittermold Keep, but there's this big dungeon and I'd like them to go there and I'd like them to enjoy it. So I want to have them off to Bittermold Keep. And I thought Drusilla, I think, was also tied to other things in the Gloaming book, in the Gloaming campaign itself. But I was like, I think it'd be kind of cooler if she was sort of, interested in slime stuff. So they went up, they fought Drusilla. It was a hard fight. She threw a gray ooze on the ground. And she threw this thing and it like formed into a big gray ooze. So they had to fight like a gray ooze and Drusilla. They cast sleep ooze, and there didn't seem to be anything that said that sleep wouldn't affect the gray ooze. So it seemed affected, but it of course did not affect Drusilla because she was higher CR, she was higher level. And so then they had to fight her. She beat some people up and all went well. One interesting thing is that when they came out of the pool here, they fought some slime zombies. These are like villagers who were dead, whose bodies had mostly decomposed into like oozy slime stuff. I just used the zombie stat block and reskinned it. And one of the characters was downed from it. They got critically hit or something. They ended up facing two of them. They got critically hit and they were knocked down. And then they rolled a die to see how many rounds they were going to last. And it was like one round when it was their turn. And then somebody said, I'm going to run over and heal. And someone else said, no, I'll get it. And then they went around. And when it was the other person's turn, they came back and they didn't heal the person. And then it hit that guy's turn again. And I'm like, you. And they're like, oh, I forgot that I thought somebody had brought them up. I stepped away for a minute and I came back and they're dead. And I was like, well, we're not going to roll it. I know like it was circumstance, but like, we're not going to roll it back. And the player whose character died was not particularly upset about it. And so it was the first character death, first full on character death. And then they're like getting their stuff back together. And then I think, they went into the water because they saw some shiny treasure in the water, and it turned out to be a boot full of silver. It turned out it wasn't anything particularly good. But then another slime zombie came out of the water whose leg was in the boot, or whose leg was previously in the boot or something like that. And then the character who had died came back as a zombie because I thought that'd be fun. That was Thalos. And Thalos was like the hero of the group. He was the one that rescued Varro from getting eaten by a direwolf at the tower. Thalos was always like the bastion of good. And then Thalos became this zombie. And then one of the characters, so then Thalos, the player who played Thalos, cast Charm Person on the zombie of Thalos. And again, we couldn't see a reason why it didn't take. So I had the zombie was kind of like, oh, and I kind of said, like, you managed to touch the one last little bit of life that the Thalos zombie has. And then Thalos kind of followed the characters around a bit. He didn't really do anything helpful. And the funny bit was they're all avoiding running in the water because the water's definitely filled with this like weird ooze stuff that'll disease you. One of the other characters drank the healing potion that Drusilla had given them. And so that cursed him. So now he's cursed. They need to find out how to break the curse. And I think breaking the curse is going to require going to Bittermold Keep. I think you need to get some substance from the actual pure instantiation of Bittermold. And so the Thalos zombie is following the characters along. And he's like swimming. They're all trying to avoid going in the water. And Thalos zombie is swimming and drinking the water like as he's swimming through. And they're like, well, I guess it's all right. He's already a zombie thing. And they find these like old creepy altars to Almazot's down here. And they're covered in like blood blood and super like fossilized organs that had been laying out there. Like they were like crunchy potpourri of organs. And they like look and like, oh, that's so gross. Like I'm not going anywhere near that altar. And they turn around and they look back and Thalos zombie is like eating all the things right off the altar. Like, oh, Thalos, no, don't do that. Get that out of your mouth. And then licking the bloody altar. Like, oh, Thalos, oh, how far you've fallen. So we all had a good time with that. And then the characters faced Drusilla. They battled her. It was quite a fight. And they defeated her, and that is where we ended the game, was they're underneath Wardenwood. Their plan, so they decided where they're going to go to next, and their plan is to go to Drusilla's hut to try to find more about curing the curse that has afflicted not only Mugdleblub, but also, or not only Wardenwood, the people of Wardenwood, but also affected now more than one character. So that is where the game ended. It was fun. Like, we're having a great time. And the sad bit is Thalos was the one who I think maximized his first hit point roll, and they got like a 5 out of 6 on his second one. So he had by far the most hit points of any of the characters. We have another character who rolled a 1 and then another 1 with a no con bonus. So he's got 2 hit points at level 2. And Thalos died, and so they really lost not only a character who was really interesting, but they lost a very powerful character that was able to help them a lot. So we are going to set up, I think for today, I think we only have three players today. It's going to be a light group. So I think it'll be a good session of sort of getting from one place to another. I think I have a plan. I have a plan of what I think I want them to do and where I would like them to go. I'm going to leave options open, but I'm going to kind of, we're going to nudge towards particular options because it's got nice stuff. So I think the strong start is that Thalos explodes into an oozy mess. Very sad, but I think we're going to start with one of the characters exploding. Because why not? One very important thing is I need to know what kind of treasure Drusilla had on her to give the character, so the character, like, they defeated Drusilla. I'm sure she's not carrying nothing. So what did she have on her? So looting Drusilla, they might return to Wardenwood. They might go straight to Drusilla's hut, and then next steps. And we'll think of these, but Mugdleblub, the bandit. I think Mugdleblub is very likely where they're going to go, because I think I'm going to be pushing that pretty hard. So the journey to Mugdleblub is one, facing the Redthorn, or the Redthorn bandits, right, is another. They have, like, next step's an outstanding quest. So the journey to Mugdleblub, facing the Redthorn bandits is another option. And what are some other ones? Yeah, Bittermold. Yeah, not to Mugdleblub, to Bittermold. Journey to Bittermold Keep. Return the remains of the Green Knights to the Mire Castle ruins. That's another. We haven't figured out anything about the Greywall Priori yet. They don't have a quest that really takes them there. They know where were the other gates. So I guess they could visit Haldren to learn more about the Marrow Gates, and that could lead them on the quest of rescue Haldren. That could be a thing. So we've got some good solid quests. Recover the cure to the curse of Mugdleblub at Bittermold Keep. That's probably their main quest. Face the Redthorn bandits and close the Marrow Gate of the Redthorn bandits. I can simplify that quest a little bit. Inter the remains. Is that how you spell inter? Inter the remains of the Green Knights at the Mire Castle ruins. and learn more about the Marrow Gates from the sorcerer. So those are some good solid scenes of like where things are going to go. I think that can work out okay. Any secrets and clues? We have lots of secrets and clues that we want to recover. So Drusilla is a secret cultist of the ooze god Mugdalblub. Drusilla had been creating mass sacrifice of the people of Wardenwood to her twisted god. That's a good secret. The cure to Mugdalblub's curse lies in Bittermold Keep. The cure requires a purified sample of Mugdalblub's oozy body. That's nice and gross. Let's see. The trees of the Gloaming are cursed. Each of them can become a gateway to Marrow, the dark world of Marrow, home of Almazat, realm of Almazat. Grieves Redthorn wishes to draw Unduluk, caller of, so Unduluk the Marrow Fiend, we're going to give a big title, caller, herald of Almazat. So we have this kind of interesting relationship that, and I think I can't remember if I already described it. So this could be like a kind of a refresh. Some of these secrets and clues are sort of a refresh of Kytheros. There it is. Make sure I don't have a Kytheros already. I don't think I do. Funny how the database grows quickly. Lord of Time. And Kytheros is father of Almazat. Almazat, also an NPC. Almazat, devourer of worlds. The devourer of fallen worlds. Sort of like Galactus. He was created by Kytheros to devour the worlds whose fate lines fell away from Almazat's plans, right? And then Almazat's herald to these fallen worlds is Unduluk, the Marrow Fiend. There, so that's all connected. We have Kytheros, we have Almazat, and we have Unduluk. Kytheros is the Lord of Time, sometimes known as the Weaver, and the Kytheros weaves all possible timelines and knows all the possible paths that groups can take and sees these possible worlds. And they all formulate into Kytheros' master plans of like all of these worlds. But some of the threads of that go bad. They break, or they go loose, or they rot or something. And those timelines, he's like, I don't want those anymore. And so I need some cleanup. So his cleanup was to create a creature called Almazat, the devourer of fallen worlds. And Almazat is this super wolf-headed demon god. And Almazat's charge is to go destroy these other worlds. Just get rid of them and remove them. And when Almazat is going to go devour one of these worlds, he sends a herald known as Unduluk. And Unduluk sort of curses the world. So maybe Marrow, what if Marrow, we'll make a new one and we'll make a location. What if Marrow is where all of the remains of those worlds go? The remains of fallen worlds, dead worlds. Domain of Almazat. Here, the remains of fallen worlds go to rot and die. Almazat draws these worlds into Marrow through the Marrow Gates. This is, what's funny is it's like a shockingly big scope for a really focused adventure. It's very epic. It's too epic, I think, for a Shadowdark kind of adventure. But I don't know. Here we are. Sometimes that's where it takes you. Kytheros, the Lord of Time, created Almazat. Almazat sends Unduluk to prepare worlds for their destruction and disposal into Marrow. I think the Knights of St. Yidrith know this. The Knights of St. Yidrith know of the fall of the Gloaming into Marrow and seek to stop it, even if it means cursing themselves to do it. That's cool. What about the Fae? So there's some fairy stuff. Titiana, the Fae Queen, right? Let's make a sheet for her. Whoops. I think Titania knows the world is falling and has sent her minions, her Fae friends, to the Gloaming to recover ancient Fae artifacts and other elements of beauty before the world falls into Marrow. I think that's kind of fun. It's a lot of stuff going on. And it does feel awfully epic for a very low, sort of low power, non-super heroic fantasy RPG. And maybe that's just where I tend to lean it. But hey, I'm taking a lot of this stuff. Well, no, it's a lot of it making it. So locations. We're going to add Bittermold Keep. That's going to be current. Is there a connection between Mugdalblub's presence and the coming of the destruction of the world through Marrow? I think that could be an interesting secret. The entry of Mugdalblub into the Gloaming is one of the signs to Kytheros that the Gloaming needs to be devoured by Almazats. That makes sense. So maybe they can kind of push it away. Maybe they can kind of push away the coming of Marrow by defeating Mugdalblub. That's like a quest. So we have Bittermold Keep. Oh, Drusilla's hut, right? Another location. And the Redthorn camp and the Marrow Tree. I want to tie these all to what those quests are. Bittermold Keep, Redthorn Bandits. Oh, Mire Castle Ruins is another one. I don't think I really need to fill those out because I don't think the characters are necessarily going to go there. I do want to fill out Drusilla's hut because I think they're going there. So we should move that one up. Wardenwood is there. We'll move that one up. Bittermold Keep will probably be ahead of these other ones. The Twisted Marrow Tree. Oh yeah, so I wanted them to find another Marrow Tree along the way. They might do that. So Drusilla's hut. Let's take a look at Dyson and see if he happens to have a map that would go well for a witch's hut. I doubt it. I don't know that I've seen one, but we'll do some scanning. I just used that one. Look at these big maps. This is kind of a fun one. The Maw. Hey, my mom is here. Hi, Mom. We will keep the Maw on hand. That might be a good. I could use that in a pinch. Essentially, they go to the hut and there's nothing there. It turns out she's doing all her work in the Maw. Look at that. There's a Spelljammer. He's got a Spelljammer ship now. I'm looking for kind of a hut with a dungeon underneath is what I'm generally looking for. A lot of old crypts. I actually don't need the hut part. I could just do the caves underneath. And I don't think I want them to be particularly big. I'm not looking to do like a huge dungeon delve. 3 or 4 chambers would be fine. I don't think I've used that one before. Look at that. That one's super big. Big multi-level thing. Kind of fun. One thing about going through the Dyson maps is while you're looking for one for your current game, it kind of gives you ideas of other things that you can see. And you're like, oh, well, I'm going to use that somewhere else. I think I used this one before, but I don't think I used it for this game. It doesn't really matter if I've used it before either. I don't want to use it for the same group, for the same story. You could spend an entire day just going through these maps. Walt APR found one. That's cool. The tiered pool cave. I like it. I don't know if I need the tiered pools though. Crypts underneath old castles. Always a good one. This isn't bad. I use this one for my Witchlight game. I kind of like this one. I think we'll use this one. She could have her slimy pool. There could be a couple of ways in, and she's got sort of her secret lair, and I think that's where she has her little laboratory, her hidden laboratory. I think that would be good. Let me save this to my desktop, and we're going to convert it to JPEG. Tools. So the first thing you do is adjust the size because it's 9600. We're going to make it 4000 wide and tall. And then export to JPEG. Boom. And then Owlbear. We go to Owlbear. We go to our scenes. Make a new scene, new from new map. There we go. And I think we're going to make it 64. I always make it twice as big because I like to have maps that are good size for the characters to move around in. And we go to our tokens and we'll drop a token in to see. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, it's a little big, but we don't mind. That way there's room to move around and room to do stuff. It is currently I think it's filled in, right? It's already fogged. Yeah, it's already filled in with fog. And we want the snapping off. I think this is already set. Grid snapping is off. And I think there's no visible grid, right? Because I don't use grids. So then we've got our map ready to go. All right. So with our remaining time, most important, let's go to the Shadowdark book. Let's go to treasure and we'll go to magic items and we're going to scroll through here. This is kind of cool. The magic item idea generator. Let's try this for fun. Oh, I got a D20 right here. Let's see, 9 Memnons, 12 Skull, 5 of Brack. What is Brack? Memnon's Skull of Brack. That's weird. How about Memnon's Skull of Power? That sounds cool. That is the item that they find, a powerful artifact. So what kind of things can it do? Let's see, maybe it can cast a couple of spells. Let's make it powerful, right? Why not give him something powerful? So we're gonna roll 2d6. 5, ooh, already pretty good. 6, it casts a tier 2 spell. And that spell is 6. It can cast invisibility. Why didn't she use that? And it can do another spell. Let's say it can do 1 to 3 spells. No, 2 to 3. So 2 or 3, it can do 3 spells. The next one is another tier 2 spell, and that is web. Man, I'm nailing those 5s. 5, 6, 7, 8. Tier 3 spell. 7. Illusion. Gaseous form is kind of better. I think we're going to go with gaseous form. I don't know how to spell gaseous form. It can do it once, and you still have to roll to see if it works using your ability, right? And you will expend it or not. So, but if it works, it's still done for the day. One each. So Memnon's Skull of Power. That's powerful. That's kind of a fun item, right? And it's not super OP because they still have to roll to see if you can do it. And there's still like a 50-50 shot it's not going to work. And it gives you invisibility, web, and gaseous form. I don't think that that's violating. I don't think, I think that that's cool. Let's see. We could do a couple of other rolls on the treasure table too. I think I'll have them roll for other things that she's carrying. 2 other rolls. We'll do that. We will roll to kind of see what they run into on their journey to Drusilla's hut when we do our hex crawl. So I'm not going to worry about monsters too much. But when we look at the location, let's look at Drusilla's hut. So they'll go into her hut and it will appear to be like a medicine woman's hut, but any kind of investigation will show them that it's really BS, right? But then they will find a hidden trapped door down into her labs. And that we'll start 1, which is at the 12 o'clock position, and we will go around clockwise. So 1 is the entry to Cove. I guess it's kind of a cove. Yeah, it's sort of a cove-like. Anything notable that she would have down here? Probably a couple of oozes, right? Ooze guardians. Then down in the water, small boat. Oh, let's see. So that tunnel on the right is a hidden escape tunnel to the outer woods. Then cursed pond filled with corpses and ooze corpses. They won't attack someone holding Memnon's skull. Small boat to travel across the pond. Let's see, tunnel to lower Mushroom Grove and the Underdark. Stealing that from Forgotten Realms, but so what? What is that area in the lower left? What could that be? Oh, and the Underdark critters could come up. What would that lower left area be? That's a good question. I don't know, because that's not her lab proper. It's probably not her disposal area. It could be like leaky body, a pile of leaky bodies, right? That's kind of flowing into the thing. So then you got the main doors, Drusilla's lab, and they're trapped. Then a altar to Mugdalblub, tapestries of Mugdalblub's arrival in Bittermold Keep. Then her main laboratory is that one. Imp companion is there. And then she has her experimental area, she has her study, and then she has her laboratory. And we have crystallized ooze people, where things didn't quite go. Maybe a marrow crystals. So that's that in the lower area. So that gives some fun stuff to explore down in Drusilla's area. So I'm good with that. And we can roll for some random treasure in her study. And the book with the formula for the cure for Mugdalblub's curse. And that's the real thing that they need. Cool. Does she have a servant that takes care of her hut? I don't think so. I'm trying to think if there's any other NPCs that they might run into. One NPC they might run into. We'll go to the random generator here. Come up with an NPC. Jupiter Wormhood. And she is a scout of Titania who's been watching Drusilla and her hut for some time. Cool. So that way we have a connection too. All right. So let's take a quick scan through everything. I've got a strong start. Thalos' body is going to explode, looting Drusilla, finding Memnon's skull. So we have our strong start. We have our scenes, looting Drusilla, returning to Wardenwood, going to the hut, meeting Jupiter, and then navigating Drusilla's lab. And then they have their next step, go to Bittermold Keep, close the Marrow Gate of the Redthorn Bandits, inter the remains of the Green Knights. They can decide what they're going to do. Probably, I'm hoping Bittermold Keep, and Bittermold Keep, given that's where the cure is, and one of the characters is going to die without it. Drusilla, Witch of the Gloaming, is a secret cultist of the ooze god Mugdalblub. We have a bunch of secrets and clues. We're all set there. Fantastic locations, we're good. We got the Wardenwood, we got Drusilla's hut, which we just did. Got all that. NPCs, I don't know. I keep forgetting to pull my example off of this. We've got the scout of Titania. We have Drusilla, who's dead. We have Matilda Bauer, the Wardenwood elder. The love-struck dwarf, who's no longer love-struck, and gods and factions. Monsters, we don't really have to worry about. Those are in the books. We can just yank that section completely. And treasure, we have Memnon's Skull of Power. So we are all set. I feel like I've got everything I need to run a fun Shadowdark game today. Friends, I'm going to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while I prepared for my Shadowdark game. If you enjoyed this show and you want more material like this, the best way to see all of the work that I do is to subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. There is a link to it in the show notes. It is absolutely free to sign up. You get a free adventure generator PDF just for signing up, and you get a weekly RPG-related email sent directly to your inbox. You can also support me directly on Patreon. Patrons get access to all kinds of exclusive features, tools, adventures, source books, tip guides, Discord server, monthly Q&A, all kinds of great stuff for being a patron. It's very reasonably priced. You can find a link to that in the show notes as well. Or you could pick up any of my books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, The Lazy DM's Companion, and The Lazy DM's Workbook, all available on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Links for all of that in their show notes. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play an RPG.